Welcome to my hometown, Philippi, West Virginia. Philippi is the county seat of Barber County and is located in north central West Virginia. Philippi is home of the Phil Barber Colts and the Alderson Brothers University Battlers. This quiet little town on the banks of the Taggart Valley River also holds a lot of history. Behind me is the Philippi Covered Bridge. This bridge is a two-lane or double-barreled covered bridge. It spans the Taggart Valley River at a length of 285 feet and is the only covered bridge still used on the federal highway system. The covered bridge in Philippi was designed by Lemuel Chenoweth, who was a self-taught engineer and architect from present-day Beverly, West Virginia. This bridge was built as a crossing for the Staunton-Parkersburg Turnpike, developed in Western Virginia, running north and south. Construction of the bridge started in 1850 and completed in 1852 at a cost of $12,181. All the materials came from local sources. In 1934, 4 large steel I-beam stringers and 2 concrete piers were added to strengthen the bridge by the State Road Commission to permit modern traffic loads. In 1938, concrete slabs replaced the wood plank flooring and an external pedestrian walkway was added to the southern side of the bridge. The bridge survived the Great Flood of 1985 with only minor damage despite being hit with huge debris. In 1989, an accidental fire nearly destroyed the covered bridge. After the fire, then Governor Gaston Caperton promised the citizens the covered bridge would be rebuilt. Construction started in 1990 and finished in 1991. The bridge was restored to near conditions and the appearance it had in 1861, with the exception of the modification for modern traffic. But most importantly, the Philippi Covered Bridge bared witness to the first land battle of the Civil War. Now that we've learned a little history of the covered bridge, let's learn how Philippi played its role in the American Civil War.
We're here to talk about the history of the Battle of Philippi. And it's important because what happens in Philippi is not just first in a sense, even though it is the first land battle of the Civil War, meaning first infantry battle with soldiers carrying rifles shooting at other soldiers carrying rifles. But it's emblematic of what happens in the formation of the state of West Virginia. Without the Civil War, there would be no state of West Virginia. So in the spring of 1861, after Fort Sumter, people across what was this part of Virginia had to make up their minds. They had to decide, are we going to be loyal to Virginia and therefore secede from the Union? Are we going to be loyal to the Union and therefore forcing our hand and having to secede from the state of Virginia? Interestingly, here in Barber County, here in Philippi, which is the county seat of Barber County, most of the citizens had Confederate sympathies. But just a few miles up the road is the city of Grafton, West Virginia, and it was strongly Union. And it's emblematic then of how it was kind of community against community, and in many cases even family against family and brother against brother. So at the very end of May, the Confederates were gathered down here in Philippi, and the Union troops had come by train down from Wheeling and also from Ohio and Indiana across from Parkersburg, and they gathered at Grafton. The Union commanders decided that they needed to capture the Confederates that were gathered in Philippi. So they sent their troops down. And to make it a very long story very short, what happened was that even though they failed in their mission to capture the Confederates, they were able to drive the Confederates out of Philippi. It was called the Philippi Races. The Confederates escaped to the south, and then consequently, in the summer of 1861, there were a series of battles here in what is now northern West Virginia. The bottom line is that by the end of the summer of 1861, then the Confederates lost control of this part of our state. 2 years later, almost exactly 2 years later, June 20, 1863, after a long kinds of negotiation, West Virginia was accepted officially into the Union as a state in its own right. The only state so formed during the Civil War and taken from the territory of another. It could have been a constitutional crisis, but that's what happened. And if we want to understand this Civil War In fact, what some historians have called the greatest event in our history, even greater than our revolution and the founding of our country, then looking at what happened in West Virginia is a good lens through which to see that history, even though the state did not play a part in the largest and most significant battles of that war. So when we're here at the Blue and Gray reunion, reenacting the Battle of Philippi, we're trying to make history real for modern day people. If we don't understand the history, then we're going to be in a bad place.
Each year, the Blue and Gray reunion is held on the first weekend in June. There are many events and sights to see during the 3-day reenactment. You can see Civil War artillery and infantry demonstrations, a Civil War era ball, and even a period correct medical demonstrations and a field amputation. The weekend draws to a close with the reenactment of the Philippi races, where Union soldiers pushed the Confederates out of Philippi. If you'd like to learn more about Philippi, check out the links below. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button and follow me as I show you why West Virginia is almost heaven.